Yeah, this game. The Greek pottery game, because I can never figure out how to pronounce it. Apotheon. Apotheon. Something like that. Anyway, let's try to figure out where I am at here. I remembered I just... Okay, travel. That's what we want to do. I finished Apollo, I think. Don't want to go to Hades. Let's... Okay. I did not do that yet. Or did I? Okay, I did the Temple of Artemis. Now I'm at the Temple of... we'll figure it out. Just try to get the combat down here. Alright. Anyway, today my topic of conversation is going to reflect the events of this past week down in Charlottesville, or whatever, and the rallies that are continuing on to this week. Oh, I shouldn't have done that.
Apollo, guide my arrow.
I should not have done that. Apollo, guide my arrow, and then he pulls out a sword. That is kind of helpful. I'm gonna die. Anyway, I would like to just, discuss those events and, the neo-Nazi rallies, and it's just... Anyway, the best... So I'm going to start with a little disclaimer here. This is just purely my opinion and my conjecture. Does no means reflect my... Basically, if you get offended, just let me know, and I could, discuss it. I don't aim to offend, I aim to discuss. Anyway, so I guess one of the main issues was this giant statue of Robert E. Lee in front of the town hall or something, and how these people wanted him to come down, and then these other people are like, no, he's a historical treasure. The South will rise again. I think they shouted, Jews will not replace us. What the Jews have to do with anything in this, I don't understand. Much like this game, I really don't understand. Anyway, it just seemed like... Yeah, let's go there. I don't know, it seems like an excuse to... it doesn't really seem like much like of an actual gathering as much as it just seemed like an excuse to rally against the Jews, which I thought, that was the whole reason we fought World War II. I mean, that being said, I don't believe these statues should necessarily be destroyed or demolished because, even though, they do represent, a terrible time in our nation's, okay, they're going to try to kill me regardless. A terrible time in our nation's past and history. I don't necessarily believe that they should be destroyed. I mean, removed, sure. I mean, I don't, live in the South, in Charlottesville. I don't want to stereotype and assume that every Southern person's a redneck, who thinks the South is going to rise again and proudly, drapes their flag over the hood of their General Lee. Because that would be a stereotype, and that would be just as bad, as them stereotyping, other ethnicities. I'm not going to do that. So, I mean, if... I lost my train of thought here. Again, if these things were glorified, then that would be a whole nother story. That's a penis. Yeah, that's a penis. Anyway, I don't necessarily think that these things deserve to be glorified. Well, it's not to say they don't have historical significance, but I feel like they should belong to a museum with a plaque saying, this was a time in our country where during the Civil War where we were in fact at war. over, the many different, ideals, regarding states' rights and slavery and, the South. Where the hell am I going? The South, represented this side, and, this man was a general. I don't really necessarily think it deserves to be stand in front of town hall, and, I mean, I could see where, that would be an issue. It just kind of brings me back, reminds me of, Germany. I think that's where I'm supposed to go. Germany, and how, granted I've never visited Germany, but, how, there's nothing in their history books, mentioning at all the Nazis or Hitler, and it's just completely struck in from the history books in Germany, which, again, to ignore the past, and I'm paraphrasing here, to ignore the past means you're doomed to, I'm on fire, doomed to repeat it. So by flat out ignoring the fact that there was a civil war, that slavery existed, that not any of these going-ons took place, is to just, look what's happening today, to doom yourself to have another fascist dictator rise and completely alienate an entire race or culture of people. So, by destroying these statues and pretending that this didn't happen, that this didn't take place, that these people didn't exist, you're just dooming yourself to, this uprising again. And it's, it's a mistake, in my opinion. Because it offends people doesn't mean that it doesn't deserve to exist. Because it can, upset some people, and I just think that's childish, really. It's childish. That's really what it is. I don't like this, so I'm gonna destroy it. No. That's a very childish way of viewing things. Which, what do we have here? Which I guess is part of the millennial mindset that, I want it this way and I want it now, which, unfortunately isn't the way things work. Unfortunately, I'm, considered, the typical millennial age group, which I do not identify as a millennial because I do not share the mindsets as the quote-unquote millennials. This childish, self-righteous, self-serving, it's not how the real world works, really. The world does not work that way. If you go to a court of law and sue somebody and says, "Judge, this person offended me," you're gonna get thrown out. That's not how the world works. Or, "I don't like the way this looks. I want to get rid of it." No, that's not how things work. And it's really frustrating. Because, as the baby boomers age, and the millennials, and, to a lesser extent, the Gen Xers, I don't know what the Gen Xers are doing nowadays, but just as time goes on, this is not a very healthy mindset for the general, the country as a whole to be in, because it's just gonna set us up for failure, more or less. I think that's actually where I'm going to end today. I better save here. And then, like I said, if you did,